Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host and Lights Excited Eddie V. Joining me is the one, the only Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hello, Ed. It's good to be here. It's good to be doing an expansion pass because we haven't done it in a while. Because you don't invite me on anymore because you have too many other friends. That's fine.
What other friends do I have?
I don't know. But Ed, there's a lot of exciting things happening. For Boss Rush stuff, Ed. I'm quite excited.
Yes.
I'm excited for expansion pass. I'm excited for Jump Off Point is debuting in May, which I think the first couple episodes are already out on Patreon, so you can check those out. I'm very excited for that conversational show that you and Jesse are doing, and I've listened to all the. I mean, I was on the second one, I think, but I think it's a great idea for a show, and if we can keep them coming weekly, I think we'll be all right. I think it's going to be good. So
yes.
But how are you, Ed? Are you excited for things?
I am excited for things. New interviews, guests that we are not guests that I'm meeting, but like from Boss Rush Podcast, all the guests that you guys have on there. Power Block having guests in our, topics, and like you mentioned, Jump Off Point. It's pretty much now. I told Josh Martinez, I'm just like, you pretty much the third chair now. The third is the
I mean, that's fine with me if he wants to, and just have like that rotating fourth chair. I mean, he's great. I wish he was more available.
We had one of my friends, Matt, come on twice, and just like, oh wow, this feels like a crew that could talk for, with what we do for that show. But I'm very interested into that. And yeah, just enjoy the new, I guess I kind of want to say season, but I don't want to go into our new season of Boss Rush yet until a lot of things come out, and then once stuff start rolling and be like, okay, now it's the new season of Boss Rush.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is like we've been really trying to be more efficient in terms of like what we're putting out and have the quality be higher. And so we've kind of refocused our content a little bit in terms of like, okay, we definitely want to feature other people. How do we do that? And so like we have our spotlight episodes, and then expansion pass is kind of, we're still going to do the Nintendo version of it, but we're also expanding it out into the just whatever. If there's another topic, like obviously the Microsoft Activision acquisition is going to be something we're going to want to talk about, but in terms of Boss Rush proper, we don't really have a place to talk about that. So expansion pass is going to, like, we're going to have to talk about that there. Obviously they'll talk about it on Crossroads, but I'm just talking about the stuff that exists on our channel, right? So
yes,
it's going to be an interesting May because we're kind of using May as our transition month. So that's why we're kind of debuting Jump Off Point, and I think there's, by the time this comes out, there's still a couple ranking Nintendos that need to come out, and some other things, and then obviously this will exist. So we're gonna try to hit all the content that is required for our Patreon before we kind of rework it in June, right?
Yes.
But I just want people to know that we might miss a few things, which is probably something we should announce on like a main show, but like we're going to try to hit the times and stuff, but our schedule is changing in June for our content, and I just want everybody to know that we might miss an episode or two of something because of scheduling and stuff. So
yes.
Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about, but
which I can say is just like, it's a way to give ourselves as creators here um a break. Something comes up.
Yeah,
So
I want people to take breaks. Even though I refuse to take breaks, but I want people to take breaks and feel like that they don't have to do a
mhm.
thousand different things, right? So
Because we're gonna need our boss rush summer break just for a week, of no content,
yeah, I
of
mean,
recording new content, but already have content already planned for it. I should say.
yeah, and I don't really want to take breaks, but I know it's important for other people to take breaks, and
Hmm.
people keep telling me I need to take a break, so we'll figure that out at that point. But yeah, I'm excited for a lot of the stuff coming up. Spotlight stuff, like I don't know if I told you or not, Ed, but our first spotlight's going to be with Secret Friends Unite. So I'm very excited for
Yay!
that.
Pretty excited for
Um,
that.
yeah. So, anyways, that's the scoop,
The
scoop de
update,
doop.
the boss rush update. So, well, Corey, I kind of we're probably going to jump around with some things,
That's fine.
but you sent me a picture of, I guess it. I don't know if it was like a Christmas paper roll or something like that. It looked that way by the picture.
Hmm.
And you asked me, "What does this look like?" And I responded to you, and I know I got it wrong, but I think I was looking at the circles of it,
Hmm.
and it kind of looked like that same circle of smoke that was in Wind Waker. So that's why I was thinking about it, not with what we're going to be literally talking about. So do you want to explain to people uh what you showed me and what that represents and how can that be connected to what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, so I haven't really seen anybody talk about this, and not that a lot of people would really know or care or whatever, but like we were at the library with my kids the other day doing like family stuff. Like they had like crafts there, and kids musician there, and a balloon person and an animal person, right? Like somebody brought in animals, and we went over to like the arts and crafts kind of area, and this girl had this table laid out with this paper on it, and the
Hmm.
paper kind of reminded me of this water mat that Riley has, where like you take a paintbrush and water, and you kind of draw whatever you want on it, and then when the water evaporates, you can kind of reuse the mat, right? Because it just kind of evaporates and the mat is dry, and then it just that kind of thing. Well, this was just like regular paper, and I'm like, well, how? My wife started asking her questions like, "What is this?" or whatever, and I didn't think anything of it at first. I'm like, okay, whatever. But it had the same effect where like my daughter would draw on this paper, right? And then the
Yeah.
paper would dry. Like the paper, when she used water on the paper would turn black, right? To show what she had colored. And then as the paper dried, it became white again. And so that's like when it turned white, you knew it was dry and you could go back over it again. Granted, my daughter kind of used like an entire gallon of water, I feel like, on this table, and it's like stopped drying after a while because there's so much water on it. But the concept was like, okay, we're gonna color on this paper, it'll dry, and then you can draw something totally different. Well, it's called Buddha paper, and I looked at the roll that it came on because it was sitting there in a chair. Right, the roll was sitting there in a chair.
Yes.
And when you look at the Breath of the or the Tears of the Kingdom character art with the brown swirls behind them, it's literally the exact same pattern as on this roll of paper as it is in the Zelda art. And it instantly I texted you, I texted Stephanie, um, and I'm like, I have new theories about what this game's going to be about. And I think Tears of the Kingdom is going to be about rewriting the timeline, and there's going to be a lot of I think there's a time travel definitely has a place in this game now.
Hmm.
Now granted, I think this episode comes out the week of Tears of the Kingdom, and this episode might be moot by that point. Maybe I'll switch some things around just to get it out early.
Yes.
But my point is like that paper like sent me into this rabbit hole of Zelda timelines and like how does this work? Are we rewriting the timeline? Are we going to see events that are familiar from other games happen in this game, but they happen differently? Are we going to kind of go back and try to fix these events from other games? Are we going to experience them in a different way or in a different timeline or in a separate dimension? Like, are we going to, and that's like, it all spawned because I saw this paper roll at the library when we were trying to do some art and crafts.
Right.
So I don't know. What did you think of that picture I sent you though, Ed? Like,
But
have you thought about it since then? Like,
so when you mentioned it, it didn't catch on in my head until you actually mentioned it. Be like, no, this is a character background for Tears of the Kingdom, and then I had to go and look at it at one of the artworks. Like I think I looked at one with Zelda behind it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it is. And so thinking about like looking at it, I didn't make a connection yet about the time thing, but it makes sense if they are trying to bring time into this game
mhm,
so they could rewrite, not rewrite Ganondorf, but I'm like, maybe with time, this is the way that Link is going to get Zelda back,
mhm,
you know, and maybe time is what is needed to hold Ganon back in place,
mhm,
because like whatever is whatever is holding him has weakened over what time, and if there's a way to make it stronger once again so that it could hold Ganondorf for another 100 plus whatever years and stuff, then time will play a factor, you know
mhm,
and we may actually see this kind of style. Maybe it's a background thing. Maybe it's from the Yuga clan, or the Yiga clan. Maybe it's something that you can literally buy in a town and stuff. Like I feel like this this design. I can't believe no one caught on, because you would think about it that it's just a simple background design.
mhm.
Like who
And my
thinks of a
my
back? Oh,
initial
go ahead.
my initial thought too was like, oh well, this is just a coincidence, and like paper just this is just the design of the roll that they that they put it on, right? It's not this
Right.
doesn't not every roll of Buddha paper comes on this design or this roll, right? Well, I went to look it up, right? Like on Amazon and went to generic Google shopping just as a quick search.
Mhm.
All of this paper has this design on it. Like the rolls of the paper are this design. And I'm like this has to like this kind of writing the time, like writing and rewriting and like time, like it there's no way this was not connected. There's no way. And I wish this was like, I don't know, I wish people could see this and under like in maybe I'll just put this episode up early for people to listen to
Mhm.
because I want people to really think about this, right? And like how it could affect the game because like I mean when the game comes out this conversation is going to not matter because there's going to be spoilers like, you know, 10
I
hours
thought I
after
was
the game comes out, right? Like so
right.
I I just I think that this what Buddha paper is and like the similarities in like storytelling and I mean the Zelda timeline is kind of like a mess anyway, right? And what if they're trying
Mhm.
to quote unquote reset the timeline or that explains why, you know, the ocarina split is three ways or why it doesn't really make sense that this game is in this timeline or as opposed to the other timeline and maybe they're really trying to take the timeline seriously now and everything after Breath of the Wild is like, you know, okay, Breath of the Wild is the first game now and like, the time this is it starts a new timeline in an alternate timeline to the games that have come before.
Yes. Well, now now with having a paper theory, this Buddha paper theory now in the game, I'm I'm back on to yeah, this game may be literally main games, not side games. The main game probably is the trilogy now. Because,
Mhm.
you know, if we see this paper in the game and it does a play a part, oh yeah, there's gonna be a part three. Because I'm like, how does Nintendo incorporate something from uh India? You know, how do you
Mhm.
incorporate this from another culture and stuff? Because we haven't to me, if I think about it, the Gerudo probably would be the most closest to Arabian kind of nature to the game. So if that is the case, maybe they do will play a part big into this game or big into this whole storyline.
Mhm. And I actually think they will, right? I think this is I think I really think that I really think that this is they're going to try to tie this into some sort of cultural thing,
Hmm.
and Link is going to maybe it's the Zonai. Maybe the Zonai are the people who are entrusted with the sacred timeline or something, and they need to bring together the three of them to reset the timeline or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I really think that this is what's happening, and maybe I just sound like a crazy person, but this is like
No, it's it's
it's been stuck with me since, I saw that roll of paper. I haven't stopped thinking about it.
it's fascinating because like who would you would think that even if just YouTubers and gamers and people who are historian would be able to recognize this. They should have been able to say something. Literally, you're the first person who brought this up. I didn't even realize it. Didn't realize
Mhm.
it at all.
Yeah.
Because if you just showed it to some person to somebody, they'd be like, "Oh, that's a cute background or something." You wouldn't think where it originated from and what it the meaning of it. You just wouldn't think.
Mhm.
It took us a long time to even see any consequences of the kingdom. Now that we got artwork out there and it's behind this background, now it's gonna be like when you're informed what that background represents, you're gonna be like, okay, now I might now could start creating theories and talking about what this game could be if time is a factor into it.
Mhm.
It's not just fashion. Now it's like a deeper meaning or it's a connection to something about the game or that could be in the game. And maybe not, but I'm like, it will create a conversation about it for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's kind of like that's just where my mind has been recently is like I think there's this game's going to be a lot deeper than people are going to give it credit for at first,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I think Nintendo's really going to try to do something out of the ordinary with this game and actually tell like a compelling, almost like time travel story. Um, and I think they're going to try to really go for it and rewrite the timeline and make it something that people, because I think they see things. I think the current leadership in Nintendo sees things like, you know God of War and Destiny and games that take their lore super
Hmm.
seriously, right? And we got our first taste of it with Breath of the Wild, right? And I think the current regime at Nintendo is seeing people really caring about the stories in these games, and maybe, just maybe, like Zelda is going to be the game that pushes them over the edge. Then they say,
Yeah.
we take our lore seriously too. And all these games still happened. They happen in different timelines, they happen in alternate universes, but we're here to rewrite and set a new timeline, and everything from here on out is canon to the Breath of the Wild timeline. And again, this is me being a hopeful Nintendo fan, but I think it's something they could really do and pursue, you know?
Yeah, I I think what a lot of people got to recognize is that Zelda now is not a Miyamoto Zelda. It's not
Mhm.
that era. It's something different. You know, we had a Miyamoto's Zelda. We had a Numa's Zelda. Now we just I think we got a new direction going on. I think people are interested in knowing what the story is because what is being said and what's being shown to us. I'm like, that is going to hit us on a different emotional level, or it's going to draw us into its narrative where we are seeing how things unfold. It's
Mhm.
it's it's Nintendo's version of a fairy tale, but it's more intriguing, well thought out, and captivating.
If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.
You
Yeah, and
know.
I think you see that by even some of the voice acting that they've hired, right? With like,
Hmm.
I know everybody's going crazy over the Ganon voice actor. I don't really know who he is, so I can't really tell you, but I know a lot of people are excited for that. And Patricia Somerset being Zelda, she's pretty a pretty big actor um in that sense too. So uh I don't know. I think, I mean, fingers crossed, but I think this is the one that Nintendo's finally going to invest in and be like, this is it, and maybe that's why we're getting this the $70 price hike. Not, I mean, also like games are just $70 now, so Nintendo should probably be on that level.
So
But
can I say my thoughts on the $70 thing now
no,
that I'm thinking about it? Oh, I really think that because instead of the game being huge and big and all of that, and the cutscenes, I think a lot of that has to do with the voice acting. I think, and I think there's a lot of cinematics in this game that they have put in. I mean, of course, the physics and creativity and the Skyward and all that stuff. But I think there's a lot of technical stuff that they have incorporated in this game that boosted the budget up to where in order for them to break even or whatever it's going to be $70. You know.
I mean, I think they're gonna surpass millions of copies. I mean, this
Oh
game's gonna
yeah.
sell better. This game's gonna sell better than Breath of the Wild, I think, for sure. Um, so yeah, I mean, I just think games are $70 now, and Nintendo wants to make sure they look like they are a premium product, compared to
Hmm.
the other guys who are selling $70 games. And so I don't care. Look, I there's a lot of work that goes into these games. I think that there are certain games I think are probably worth more than $70 that are $70, and I think there are definitely games that are worth less. But uh, that's where we are. I actually think Nintendo's been pretty good at exploring the scale of the price range, right? Like, I mean, Metroid
Yeah.
Prime remastered was $40. They could have easily gotten 60 out of that.
Yep.
No, like that game was totally worth a $60 price tag, in my opinion. Um, and Metroid Dread, $60. But then you get stuff like, Good Job, which is $10, or the Kirby game, which was $15 or $40, or you get the some games that are $50, and it's like, well, they're really exploring the the prices of these things.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's something Microsoft I think does pretty well too, is exploring the price scale.
And if I think a lot of people got to realize that the price doesn't always speak about the product itself being bad or anything.
Mhm.
Like Hi-Fi Rush, that was $40 a digital on the game Shuttle Drop, and it's good. Like people all have already put it into Game of the Year nominations and stuff.
Yeah.
The $40 price point is the new $20/$30 budget title, but to get games like that and it's good and it's high quality, yeah, I think it's a great business way to get games out there for people who are on a budget
Yeah.
and want a game.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean that's kind of my prediction is that this game is going to it's going to explore the timeline. It's going to probably rewrite a lot of things that we know about Zelda, and I can't wait for
Mhm.
people to freak out because it's not my Zelda. I'm like, whatever. So
I never understood that quote, "Not my Zelda." I'm like, then what
I mean,
Zelda
people are
like?
just dumb. That's my opinion.
It's funny as we talk about Tears of the Kingdom. Um, they said ever since it's released, the final trailer has been okay. So the trailer has 8.4 million views ever since it released, and that was 10 days ago at the time of this
So
recording.
that's a beefy trailer. It's a I mean, who's not excited?
I mean,
You know.
some people are probably ready to be disappointed or let down, but I think
Good, let them be
for a
let
lot
down. We're
of,
gonna be happy.
I think it's once again, I always talk about this stuff in three ways. I think there are people who wants it to be a failure or have its problems to be pointed out. I think there's people who cannot wait to do the fuse functionality, but I think there are people who are really going for this game for the story. Are really going
Mhm.
for the narrative. Um,
Yeah.
and it looks like if Nintendo can put it off, we're going to have a great final battle at the game, and I think we're going to have a satisfying conclusion. But that conclusion could also lead into part three. You know, we don't know. Ganondorf could win. Who knows?
I mean, that's been my theory all along is that like maybe that's the theory is like Ganondorf wins this in this game, and then the
Hmm.
third game will be you rewriting the timeline, right? I mean, that's my
Right.
thought, really, you know.
Because how would
Man,
Hyrule look like under Ganon's rule?
uh like when Scar took over Pride Rock and the Lion King.
Oh wow.
I mean, I don't know. Scary, probably. I don't know.
like I would literally be shocked. Now, once again, it's just the week is on the week of Mother's Day. Um, and I know job wise for me, a lot will be happening. But shoot, if I get that Friday off, that'd be good for me or stuff. Because I know people are going to be talking about it. People are definitely going to be looking for the reviews for it and stuff.
Hmm.
Um,
And that's
but
our book
I
club.
probably
I mean, it's our book club game for the next 2 or 3 months. So, you know.
well shoot, yeah. But I'm like, how do you? I think once you find the offering of that game, like what it gives you to get powerful or whatever, it's really going to be interesting on how long this game really could be. Um,
Yeah,
and
this game's
everything,
gonna be huge. This game's gonna be massive. Absolutely
you know,
massive.
because I want to build a town. I want to get the Master Sword back to where it needs to be, or maybe it's time to get a new Master Sword.
Hmm.
Like a literally a new one. and
Well,
stuff.
it's gonna be the white sword, right? I mean, that's kinda what we've talked about, where, like
That would be that's where that would the game would be interesting. The white sword and having that wizard come in.
yeah. I
You
I
know,
think that's I think that might be something we consider, right?
yeah,
So
because it's just like I know we know that Zelda has the light arrows, but maybe the white sword is something that Link actually needs. Yes, the Master Sword is powerful, but w- is the white sword could be that game's backup and everything.
yeah, I think it's gonna be this game's master sword, right? I
Mm,
especially if you're traveling like dark realms or whatever, and you need the white sword to like fight off the darkness. Like that's I don't know. I think it's happening. Just saying.
I do wonder, could there be a way that the blood moon gets destroyed?
Maybe it crashes into Earth or
Do you
Hyrule, I
th-
guess.
I wonder, is that part of could that be part of Ganon's plan to bring it more into the world?
I don't see why not. Sorry.
Hmm, that's okay.
I don't see why that wouldn't happen. I mean, I don't know, man. Totally could
Well,
I could see it.
and we'll find out on the 12th. Like,
I
and
know.
man, it's going to be hard because I know people going to be wanting to post stuff, but it's just like I think Nintendo. See, this is the thing about it is that I think because it's going to be physical and digital, I think it's going to dominate on Twitch, dominate on Facebook gaming, dominate on Twitter, YouTube and stuff. I think it's literally going to be the game that everybody is just talking about and showing off and
Hmm.
everything. And I know they're gonna try to be making fun of other games and stuff, which I don't think that's not fair. But I'm like, if people run through Redfall, getting all that they need, if Jedi Survivor, people run through that and get all that they need, I don't think people are gonna be running through Tears of the Kingdom. I think people are ready to be like, let me experiment to see where stuff is at and what I could build, and then make a video of it so I can make people watch my content, get those clicks, or just make people laugh. It's it's going to be interesting to say the least.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens because I don't know, this game Nintendo's been doing some interesting things with games that are like they're not really games as a service, but they kind of are,
Hmm.
right? Like Mario Kart and Animal Crossing, right?
Yes,
They want you to be in that game forever, regardless of if you're like really in there forever or not. But like, man, this is gonna be like I feel like Tears of the Kingdom is gonna be like their kind of almost Minecraft to an extent. You know, I mean, obviously you can't do as much, but I think it could be interesting, especially if like the fuse ability is like, you know,
yeah.
they you can do whatever you want with it, or like, what if we do actually rebuild a town, but like actually have to build the buildings ourselves instead of like, oh, complete this objective so the house gets built, like what if we actually get to do that?
I would
That'd
be
be
here
super
for it.
cool.
Yeah.
So,
It's just, and I know in the trailers you kind of see parts laying around, so that's giving you idea. Okay, if you stay here and you fuse some things, you can build some kind of vehicle for yourself. They do got parts laying around specifically for that area,
yeah.
and everything. Um,
Hmm.
But you know, we're gonna be like, I want to see the big crazy stuff, like what you do um with the automatic like with the fan and the wind and stuff like there. Um
Hmm.
what could be done with that to help me get out of a bind and stuff. Because I'm like, what if you had to make a vehicle and um in a dungeon or something in this game?
Yeah,
If they return back to dungeons.
yeah. Man, the dungeons, man. I can't wait to see what they do with those.
I wonder if the champions are still moving around in the game.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
my
Maybe I
question.
mean they could be, I guess, but I don't know.
Mm.
I think it could be interesting. I wonder. What if the dungeons were like below the divine beasts, and
Ooh, that
that's
would be, yeah.
like maybe the divine beasts are doing more than just like protecting whatever, right? Maybe they're
Hmm.
actually guardians of the dungeons, you know.
Yep,
And there's like these big
because
elaborate dungeons underneath.
yeah, because like still in the trailer, like I said, when that castle come out the sand or whatever's coming out the sand, I'm like, that's gonna have to be a dungeon. There's no way that is not a dungeon.
Yeah.
So,
So
well, Corey, I think we could call that one a wrap.
yeah, probably. I mean, I'm excited for Tears of the Kingdom. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like really I'm still trying to wrap my head around like what's really going to happen. Uh but I think this is I think this is really interesting and I can't wait to see what happens. I can't wait to see people's reactions and I hope it's everything that we've wanted it to be and more, you know.
It's to me, I know it's going to be a great game. But I think it's just, man, it's been a long time that a trailer, like to the final trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, that made us just like want to have big, insightful discussions. I don't know what of course Breath of the Wild did it, because like Breath of the Wild, we literally was definitely for older power block. That's all we literally was talking about, because we didn't expect that Nintendo and the Nuba and the team would go that route with this game. Like they took a huge risk
Oh
with
yeah.
this.
Yeah. I mean, I think Skyward Sword had a lot to do with that though, right? Where like
Hmm.
people didn't people didn't like Skyward Sword, right? And so they had to do something. I think people were tired of the old like Skyward Sword felt old when it came out, right? And not that I don't love a traditional 3D Zelda, right? Twilight Princess is my favorite quote unquote traditional 3D Zelda game, right? But that formula has been going on since Ocarina of Time, and arguably since A
Yes.
Link to the Past, really, right? I
Hmm.
I I think that they had to do that, and the only way to do that was to really rethink what Zelda was, and like I said before, I don't think Breath of the Wild is perfect, right? I think the lack of dungeons was like a big problem for me in that game. Like the divine beasts were not different enough to sacrifice dungeons to solve these weird puzzles in there, right? Like I would have loved traditional Zelda dungeons.
Oh
And yeah,
yeah.
maybe and like yeah, you can tackle them however you want, whatever. But like I I and also like the weapon degradation also did not care for. I hope that this fuse mechanic fixes maybe the issues that
Mm.
I wanted like if you're gonna have weapon degradation, at least for like you know this tier of weapon and above, please have some sort of crafting to make it more durable or to you know make it stronger or whatever. Uh,
Hmm.
and so yeah, those were like my two biggest issues with the game, but it's still an incredible game. And from I hope the Banjo Kazooie nuts and bolts jokes kind of go away with these uh machine building things. Like I wonder how big of a part of this game that's going to be. I hope it doesn't. I hope that their ideas
Mm-hmm.
don't overstay their welcome, if that makes sense. I hope that their ideas add to the experience that was Breath of the Wild without, kind of killing what that game was supposed to be.
Yes.
So,
With that, everybody, that's going to be it for Expansion Pass. Me and Corey are in the Boss Rush community, are super excited for Tears of the Kingdom, and we just can't wait to play it. We got more exciting news and things coming your way, so keep up with us. Keep watching us on YouTube. If you want to get some of the content early, join us on our Patreon. We got all our information on bossrush.net that you guys can check out and everything. Some of our writings, some of our podcast videos, and stuff with our partners here at Boss Rush. With that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Expansion Pass. Bye, everybody.
bye everybody.
Nintendo Expansion Pass is part of Nintendo Power Block and is a product of Boss Rush Media LLC. The show is recorded from our headquarters in Akron, Ohio, and is hosted by me, Edward Varnell. My co-host is Corey Dirrig. You can find Corey at I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram, as well as hosting the Boss Rush Podcast and Tower Casuals, the Destiny Podcast. Follow Expansion Pass as part of Nintendo Power Block and on all social media platforms at Power Block Podcast. You can also follow Boss Rush Media and Boss Rush Network on all major social media platforms. Join the Boss Rush Network Discord and Facebook groups to interact with other friends and fans. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.